We found these PGW shards over here. The clay, the firing technique, the fineness and the strength are same as mentioned in Mahabharata. If you look closely, you'll see the dots on this pottery.
All of this has been made by hand.
Yes, it's painted. These are vertical marks.
As you can see, I have this PGW shard from the Mahabharata era. And it has this very smooth feel, almost like it could have been a luxury item. There's a painting on it with a distinct design. Look at this. Have you ever found any weapons from the Mahabharata era?
We've uncovered weapons from other eras, such as the Rajput, Gupta, and Kushan periods. We found arrowheads, knives, and spearheads here. We found such kind of things over here. But for the Mahabharata era, once we reach that particular layer, we hope to discover some findings of that kind. Near Delhi at the Sinoli site in Bagpat, Dr. Manjul conducted an excavation where they found some burials along with weapons.
Okay.
It might be better if you speak to him about it. He might have some new insights to share.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable time and the direction that you've pointed me in. I think it will help me in my hunt. Thank you so much. In the Sinoli ASI excavation, for the first time, archaeologists discovered weapons that were buried alongside humans. Could the people of Sinoli be the same warriors who fought the Mahabharata war? And can the discoveries from the Sinoli excavation help us pinpoint the exact time period of the Mahabharata? To get the answers for all these questions, I'm meeting Dr. Sanjay Manjul. When I spoke with ASI's Additional Director General, Dr. Sanjay Manjul, he was kind enough to come and meet me at the old fort. So I've got to know that you personally led the excavation that took place at Sinoli, so...
During the Sinoli excavation, we found more than 100 burials. During the second season of excavation in 2017 and 18, we found 10 more, out of which 2 burials were such where we found 3 chariots.
Chariots, really?
Yes, which are used in warfare. This was a groundbreaking discovery that shook the entire world because it was believed that chariots arrived in India around 1400 BC and that was brought by Aryans. And before that, India had no knowledge about chariots. And this is the oldest physical chariot of the world. Along with that, we found an antenna sword. We found around 6 swords which were of different types. Along with that, we found copper helmets. There was a shield which was used in war.
As a protective gear.
Absolutely. And there was a chest shield as well. Hence, this was called the biggest discovery of the century. And this shows us that our Vedic literature, like the Mahabharata and Ramayana, they are not just fictional stories. This shows that they really existed in our culture.
So, are these weapons from the Mahabharata era?
See, for that we need to determine the approximate period when Mahabharata happened.
Okay.
After Sinoli excavation, we can estimate that Mahabharata could have happened around 1700 BC. And when we talk about weapons from that period, then I can confidently say that some of the best weapons in the world at that time were produced in the Indian subcontinent.
So you would agree that
Yes.
if a great war like
It would
the
have been the
Mahabharata would
same
have happened
case.
then, these
Yes.
are the exceptional weapons that were used.
Right.
Sir, the PGW found by ASI date back to around 800 to 1200 BC. That's the period, right? And it's often believed that was the time of the Mahabharata. But now you're saying that 1700 to 1800 BC was the time frame. So
In all the sites where Mr. B.B. Lal did the excavation, in all those places we found PGW. However, in deeper strata beneath PGW, there was often an OCP layer corresponding to the copper hoard culture. B.B. Lal found the first evidence of this in Hastinapur, where he noted that OCP was the lowest layer. And we have discovered copper hoards in numerous locations. And these hoards also included various types of weapons. And their time period is estimated to be around 2000 to 1500 BC, which is of copper hoard or OCP culture. And another significant aspect is that weapons were typically found with OCP and not PGW. chariots are associated with OCP culture, whereas PGW culture does not include chariots. So, when we examine and analyze these findings, then we find that the PGW culture, initially linked with the Mahabharata period, might not align with it based on the current evidence, which is the core component of Mahabharata.
Sir, talking to you and the insights that you've shared with me focus on the OCP period sites and where copper hoards were found. So I should now take my hunt there.
See, Hastinapur was the capital city, right? So if you have found weapons directly or indirectly, then Hastinapur can be your next location.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
After speaking with Dr. Manjul, it's clear that the Mahabharata has a stronger connection with copper hoards than PGW. Copper hoards are collections of copper weapons and objects that were found together in a cluster across northern India. And in order to see these weapons, I am going to Hastinapur, the capital of the Pandavas and Kauravas. I will be meeting Dr. Amit Rai Jain, who is a historian and an artifact collector. Let me also tell you, his collection is no less than a treasure. And at my request, he is bringing some pieces from his collection to show me. I am very excited. Hi, sir.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. What a place. Thank you so much for inviting me over. And this is an amazing collection. Sir, your collection is pretty impressive. Where did you find all of this?
All across India, especially in the northern area, including the Ganges Valley, they are especially known for this. Accidental discoveries happen to common people or farmers, and they inform us.
Then you go and...
Yes, and capture it from them because we need to preserve history.
Sir, tell me something about this. This is quite heavy.
Look at this, Ranvijay. This is a very important. This is a harpoon. Among all the weapons of the Bronze Age found worldwide, swords and hand axes are common, but this is not. This is a unique weapon from India, and it was specially used for hunting, killing, warfare, and protection.
Sir, this sword is amazing.
Indian swords are generally not that large. Most are about 1.5 feet long, but this one is 3 feet. Specifically, this is a piece from a large hoard. We found 250 pieces in Niguhi, Shahjahanpur.
So these hoards that you're talking about, along with those hoards, did you also find some OCP?
Yes, OCP was found. We discovered the entire hoard, and within the same layer, we also found OCP in collaboration with Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleosciences from Lucknow. We sent 38 samples to them, and we received a date of 2600 BC for this copper hoard from Niguhi. In most other sites, whether Sinoli or Barnava, OCP is found beneath a painted graveware in many places.
So what is the reason that all these weapons, all these items, they appear together in one hoard?
Well, even today, if you look at a military base camp, there is a separate place for storing weapons. These weapons were kept together for safety, and at some point flood occurred, all those items would have been buried beneath.
Tell me something about these blades and what exactly are these?
See, Ranavijay, these are swords, different kind of swords. This one is a bit heavier, it's an antenna sword. This one has a single antenna with holes on both sides. There is another variety of swords like this one with a single antenna and another antenna below. This is a different variety with a very deep middle section.
So talking about these findings, were any of these found at a site connected to the Mahabharata?
Absolutely. In the Mahabharata, Lord Krishna mentioned in his peace proposal to Duryodhan that if he gave him the regions of Indraprasth, Swarnaprasth, Vyagraprasth, Varnavrat, and Tilprasth, then the war could be stopped. If you look at the surroundings of these areas geographically, there is evidence of painted graveware, OCP and copper hoards all over. Actually, there is a unique mention in the Mahabharata that when Lord Krishna was on his way to Kurukshetra, he performed great penance on the hills and later broke down the mountain to create a red metal from which weapons were made. So what is red metal? It isn't iron, it's copper.
Copper is red.
And since we now have dating for copper and iron came later, it's clear that the Mahabharata war revolved around these very weapons.
Wow, amazing. Dr. Jain has also arranged for some replicas of these weapons for me to try.